Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Bamses Rated R podcast. My name is Christian, but you can call me G, and sitting somewhere on the other side of the coast, we have the Drac.
Hello. Other side of the coast. I think we're on two different coasts. Hell, we're on two different continents.
And it's all one ocean.
This week was a little bit delayed because we had an interview we needed to get out last week. But this will be our upcoming game segment where you get to learn about all the games we're going to bring to you that will be coming out in August. Alright, first up on the 7th of August for PC, Mac, and Linux. Should make you happy. Gibbous, a Cthulhu adventure. This is a this is a cool like cartoon animated style game with a focus on a talking cat and a detective.
See, Gibbous actually looks awesome. I'm not into Cthulhu games, and it's been a while since I played point and clicks. This one, the humor looks amazing. It's it's made by a couple of Romanian guys, if I'm not mistaken. Did a Kickstarter, it went pretty well, and people have been waiting for 4 or 5 years now on this game. Me included.
Yeah, I really enjoy the I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's, a nostalgia thing for things like Dragon's Lair or whatever, but I really enjoy these old school 2D cartoon animated type games. Especially if they've got some, an interesting story and kind of a fun environment to play through. And, the icon for it, too. A cat with, octopus tentacles. That's just kind of awesome.
It's cute. And that seems to be the style. Everything, the scenes, the settings they've drawn that I've seen at least, they've been really cute, but also really well made. And the cat, there's a talking cat, 'cause who doesn't like talking cats? It's just a pain in the rear. It's very much, what's the talking cat in the original one of the Teenage Bitch Witch?
Oh, that's hilarious. That was, Salem.
Yeah, I was about to say Sabrina, but she was the witch.
The witch.
This is except it isn't, Salem was a dude who got punished by turning into a cat. This is a cat who's been punished by being more human, and she doesn't like it. So it looks really awesome. I want to play this game because it looks like fun. It looks like finally there's something in this whole Lovecraftian world that's actually worth playing, because a lot of them are really freaking boring.
Well, I'm seeing that this is going to come out, it'll be just a few days now, but it'll be out on Steam and on GOG, so you can get it on GOG games as well.
Okay, I'll get it on Steam.
All right, next up, also on the 7th of August, is a game called The Forbidden Arts. Now, this will be out for PC, Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch, and it looks like it's $12.99. It's an action-adventure platformer, and kind of the neat thing that caught my eye about this is you wander the world kind of like in a 3D environment, but the game, as you go into the dungeons, transitions into a 2D platformer while you're going through the dungeons.
Yeah, it actually looks like it's pretty nice. You can have that overview and you're just walking around like an overmap in full 3D, more or less. It looks like there's some limitations to the movement, but it might just be how they cut the trailer. And then, 2D, at least the side-scrolling, it might be 2.5D. But, yeah, it probably makes the combat easier, so you only have to worry about walking around. You might get into encounters. But once you're somewhere where you need to do things, it switches completely, and I don't know, that works well for me. I don't want to suddenly have something dropped on me because I was unprepared. There's a few games where you walk around full 3D and suddenly there's an animal you haven't noticed, it's behind you, chop you half to death.
Oh, yeah, I had some of that happening last night at our LAN session. We were playing Wolfenstein Youngblood. Stuff just kept spawning out of nowhere.
I would say in Youngbloods, there's 2 of you, so one of you should probably look behind you while the other one moves forward. The notes for this one just says, don't play this game unless you hate yourself. Okay.
Look, I watched the video for this, and even, look, okay, so the game is called Never Give Up, It'll be out on PC and Nintendo Switch on the 13th of August. And here's the crazy thing, right? Part of the advertising for this is that this is a game that's going to make you rage. If you watch the trailer for this, and we'll have it running in the background so you'll be able to see that, it's like every time the guy playing gets just a little bit ahead, something else happens that just kills him. And half this stuff is out of nowhere. And they even say, too, that the better you get, or the further you get through, that they continue to layer new elements in to make it even harder as you go through the layers.
Yeah, if there wasn't missiles in the previous level, they'll be in the next one. But just added on top to everything that was in the previous. At least I've seen there's one there's a mobile game that looks even worse, where the levels are literally meant to tell you to jump there, and then if you jump there, you'll die. So you go, okay, so we'll jump the other way. That will also kill you, and there's like no logic sense to the traps. They're all meant to make it horrible to play. I'll find that one for you. It looks worse than this Never Give Up. But if you look at the trailer, all he has to do is run. Just keep ahead of everything, and you kind of sort of win.
This sounds a little bit like the Mario Maker 2 level that came out recently, where it was, these long trails of like the fire whips and stuff going around, and having to dodge all that stuff back and forth. It's just an insane level.
That one was stupid. But again, people will have fun playing it, and go for it. I'm sorry, 2D puzzle platformers, they peaked with Rick Dangerous. Sorry.
We still have some fun with them from time to time, but something like this, I don't know. I think it takes a certain kind of person to enjoy this, so that enjoys punishing themselves. And on the 13th of August for PC, PS4, Nintendo Switch, and Xbox One, Exception. They're touting this as a 2.5D platformer. So you basically travel inside a computer to battle a virus and save the system. And the cool thing with this one is there's, lots of bright colors and lighting and stuff like that, almost as if it was like a gaming PC.
Okay.
But as you're going through the levels, they will transition. And they will change on you, which kind of gives the impression that you're in a 3D environment, even though the majority of the gameplay is pretty much a 2D platformer.
Yeah, that was actually the part that interested me, because I liked how the map changes as you move around, and that you can sort of seemingly make use of that to progress. It's not a novel thing, but they did it, I think, better than most I've seen in the past. And yeah, it's lots of bright colors, yay. Can I just say, when people show me the laptop cases, or desktop cases, go, oh, look, I have blinking lights. Yeah, I have a shower head that lights up when you run water through it. And I've had that for a decade. That's not... Sorry?
Does it change based on the temperature?
Yes.
I've seen those,
does.
yeah.
Yeah, as I said, I've had that for over a decade now. LEDs and lighting up, that's not new. You're basically, you're where the world was a decade ago. Congratulations. You could buy LED remote controllable things at IKEA a decade ago. Congratulations on buying a computer that has lights.
That doesn't mean that we can let people enjoy things.
But then enjoy some steampunk or something if you're going to be archaic.
I will say, since we're kind of touching on case modding, there are some really cool groups out there for case modding, and seeing what people can do with PC cases and cooling and lighting and stuff. It's pretty impressive, some of the talent out there.
Oh yeah, we're heading to Gamescom in a couple of weeks, and there's usually an area set aside, like lots of tables, rows and rows of tables, different manufacturers, case manufacturers, mods manufacturers, lining up and just showing different case mods. There'll be people building them, be competitions for them. It's pretty awesome. There are many that looks good. It's just the whole blinking light thing is done there, been there, got the freaking fire mileage.
Well, up next on the 14th of August, now this is a game that had come out previously on PC, but now it is going to be released on the Nintendo Switch. And this is some friends of the show who we've interviewed before about Fell Seal, Arbiter's Mark. And so I think $29.99 was how much it was on PC. I'm expecting that to be the cost on Switch. It may shift slightly, but I think I don't know for sure, but if they're just doing a digital distribution, I would expect it probably would be about the same.
There's a lot of games where I go, this belongs on the Switch, and I think this one, the style actually works quite well because you can you don't have to pay attention all the time. You can see where your next bus stop or train stop is. So it's a nice and calm game, I think, and I would play it on the Switch. I think I would even prefer to play this on the Switch.
Yeah, I played this one a little bit, I think when we were recording footage for that interview, and it's a nice top-down isometric, kind of an old school, almost a like JRPG feel to the graphics and design.
More pixely than JRPG, but yeah.
Yeah, maybe a cross between the two or something like that. It's but no, I mean, I really enjoyed the art style. I like the character designs and the monster and creature designs. Yeah, no, this is cool. This is from 6 Eye Studios, and then, like I said, this will be out on Nintendo Switch on the 14th of August. We'll make sure to include links to the interview as well as the website for that.
And up next, Remnant from the Ashes. Let's get the names right. Remnant from the Ashes. Out on Windows, PS4, and Xbox One, August 24, about $40. 40 bacon tokens. Third-person action-adventure shooter RPG, basically things have gone wrong yet again. It's been another big accident, and you get to shoot monsters that are coming in from an alternative universe, a reality. Visually, I like some of the monster designs, but the one thing that I really like is that it's a 3-player co-op.
That's the thing. So, like, the design for the game, both the look of the world and the creatures and stuff like that in it, it looks like it's a mix of both melee and ranged combat. Because I have seen where there's some character designs and stuff with them using, like, swords and whatnot. It looks really cool. There's a lot about this that I am kind of excited, especially the co-op part, because I generally enjoy playing co-op with, a couple buddies of mine when we play this stuff. They even have some beholder-type creatures, which is exciting for me. But the only thing about it, and I've said this before when we talked about it, because I think we talked about this in the PAX wrap-up from last year. The only thing about it that concerns me is this is a perfect world entertainment game. And I don't know a ton about the company. I just saw what happened to Neverwinter Nights Online once they took over, and it became massively worse in the grind. So that is my only concern from this, because it is going to be an online game. I hope that the grind is not too bad, but I'm definitely looking to check it out.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how Drag kisses up to publishers.
What?
Oh no, it's the opposite of kissing up to a publisher.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Guess who won't tell us anything about their upcoming games? Next one I've actually had an eye on for a while. Control. Out for Windows, PS4, and Xbox One, August 27. We can do the whole bloody blah blurb thing. You're a secret agent, special powers, and something went wrong where you're being a secret agent. So basically you're reality bending, and is it okay if I say this game looks like Mass Effect?
Yeah, in a way.
Visually. Sure. And I think a little bit with some of the mechanics. You have telekinetic powers. You can make things flow, you can hurl them at things, you can slow things down. Yeah, you're in control of the environment, much like we see in Mass Effect. Except here it's much more focused because there's just you, there isn't the whole party and all those things. So, it definitely has that feel.
So think Jean Grey mixed with X-Files. Minus the aliens.
Jean Grey?
From X-Men. She had telekinetic powers.
Yeah,
well, telepathic and telekinetic, but...
It's just the way you said Jean Grey and the X-Men? Isn't she an X-Men?
No. And Jean Grey mixed with X-Files minus the aliens.
X-Files. I was thinking X-Men. Shows how awake I am at 1:45 midnight.
Well, let's see if you can catch this reference then. Do you remember? I don't remember if it was Atari or Commodore, but there was an old tank game where you'd play opposing against each other, and you would each control this little tank on the screen, and you would drive it around. And I want to say it was Atari because I seem to remember playing with the joystick. And you would try to drive around and point at each other, and it was the first person to shoot the other one would win that match.
Well, there's one old one called Scorched Earth, which I think predates both the Atari and the Commodore, where you had different tanks, everybody had different tanks. Some version you could move the tanks back and forward, but all it was about angling your turret and then defining how much power and what kind of, at least in later versions, what kind of explosive you wanted.
I do remember that. That's what the Worms games got based on, was that similar style of game mechanic. Yeah, no, this is more like I think probably maybe it might have been the Atari one, which was where the tanks, you could actually drive them around. And there would be different walls and stuff. It was kind of almost, in some cases, it was similar to like a maze that you would drive around and try to position and shoot each other and stuff. But there's a developer that has decided to take and bring that game into the modern game space with Tanky Tanks. And this will be out on the 30th of August. Billed as a retro-styled tank shooter. It's top-down and in some cases looks isometric, so I'm wondering if maybe there'll be some camera movement in there. But I don't know. This is another nostalgia thing, but this looks like this could be just some fun, especially like if you're just playing some quick matches. Looks like they have several different modes, at least half a dozen different modes to play in. The level design is kind of cool, and some of it has like different types of traps and things like that with like these swinging battle axes that I'm assuming if you drive near them close enough, they'll destroy your tanks. So,
see, there's the thing. I've seen a lot of party games where, yay, let's have fun and play a lot of fun games, a lot of jumping around and joy, happy. When I was younger, party games was me and 2, 3, 4 other guys and a crate of beer. And then stupid games like, let's play Bomberman, or let's run around and just shoot each other. It wasn't happy, fun Ubisoft Rabbids games. This reminds me of it. This is something I want to play with my friends and a pile of beers.
Hey, that sounds good to me. We should do a stream like that.
Sure. Do you know how far away you are?
Yeah, well, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. I can start drinking early in the morning.
Sure. What are you drinking before noon? It's noon over there. See, the next one doesn't actually appeal to me.
I'm surprised by that. I thought this one would be.
No, well, there are things about it that I like, but already way back when CDs became a thing, or games on CDs became a thing, this whole style just went, nope. Man of Medan, a part of the Dark Pictures series, coming out on Windows, PS4 and Xbox One August 30th for about 30 bacon tokens. It's a cinematic horror game, and there is multiplayer options, although they seem a bit coy about what those options are. And here's the thing, horror just doesn't do anything for me. I genuinely find, similar to a lot of Cthulhu, because again, that tends to be, people try to make it horror. It ends up being funny half the time. Well, not funny, but sad. Horror movies, horror books, horror games, they're just boring. Sorry. Cinematic games can be good. There are lots of really good cinematic games. But part of me are thinking, well, this is just an updated Myst. This is just Elvira, the CD-ROM version, without the boobs. And those were good games. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure this is also a good game. It just doesn't do anything for me. Sorry.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I think when I watched the trailer for this and I was thinking about this game, what it did for me was tug on some strings of a game I played and really enjoyed. Did you ever play or did you ever see the Gabriel Knight series of games?
Saw them, but never played them.
Yeah, there was, and I think it might even been the third one that was it was based around Germany, and it had like a werewolf theme to it that you were tracking down, who was a werewolf and what was going on. And kind of the cool thing for that too, for me at the time, was I used to live in Germany. I spent about almost 4 years there, I think. And by the time I was playing that game, I hadn't been in Germany for years, but it was taking place in some of the places that I had visited while I was there. So it was kind of neat to get to play a game in some of the cities that I had used to travel to. So, but the story itself for those games was also really cool to play through, and it had I want to say maybe a suspense element to it that I expect out of this game.
So what I think is interesting is when they say, it's a cinematic horror game, and they say it's part of the Dark Pictures series. So there's going to be more of these, and I would assume they're just building on the experiences. So if you're into horror, I think this could be really good. Again, if you're into horror. If nothing else, if you're sitting out there and unsure, do check it out. That's the best I can say. Because it looks like it could be fun for the right people. And I think this Dark Pictures thing they're doing sounds like they might be on a good track.
This might be another one of those games that's interesting just to watch somebody play, so that you get to see their reaction to the different things.
I think we should get Bam on a stream playing this.
Can we get him to scream like, a little child?
When he plays horror games, he does. I'm just saying.
That's funny. All right, and the next series of games that we'll go through here don't have specific release dates. They're just listed as August. So if they don't come out in August, don't blame us. That's the devs' fault. But they are currently listed to be released sometime in August. And first up is the DLC for Warhammer Vermintide 2 called The Winds of Magic. Now this is a first-person shooter similar to Left 4 Dead, which was a 4-player co-op game. In fact, it's so similar that many of the creatures that you run into, creature types you run into, are like same types. They got different skins on them, but the abilities are very similar. So this has been a fun one to play through when I've played that co-op at our LAN sessions. This DLC add-on is due out sometime in August, and it adds the Beastmen, which basically, to me, they look like satyrs, but then I'm not super familiar with the Warhammer universe because my only exposure to that has been some of the Warhammer computer role-playing games or action games that I've played. I expect this to be between $20 or $30, but there is not currently a price listed on Steam for it, so we don't know for sure.
Sorry, I don't have anything to add. It's weird.
Maybe.
Isn't this, or did I miss it, that this also plays as a standalone?
You can play single player, and the AI will run along with you, but that would not be the preferred way to play. The AI, I think, could still use some tweaking. At least the last time I played either Left 4 Dead or Vermintide, the AI still needed some work.
Okay. I didn't mean standalone as in you didn't need the original. I thought it wasn't just a DLC.
Oh, you know what? Let's see if it says it requires... Content requires the base game of Vermintide 2. So no, you do have to have
so it wasn't
the base
that
game.
One,
This,
okay.
Yeah, no, this is definitely a DLC for Vermintide 2.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah. I like all the things they're doing with the Warhammer environment. That's what Games Workshop. They're really sinking into it. It's just I can't keep playing all the games. A few of my friends are really, really, really into Warhammer. I'll leave them to it.
I'll play as many as I can get my hands on and as I can try to find time for. But yeah, that means I don't end up finishing enough games either. But another one
is finished when you think it's finished, not just because the story ends.
Well, another one I'm looking forward to trying, since I now have a VR setup for my PC, is ESPIRE 1 VR Operative. Now, this will be out for Vive, Rift, and Windows Mixed Reality, or at least they're saying possibly Windows Mixed Reality. The way that they've explained this game is it's a combination of GoldenEye meets Metal Gear Solid, so it's a stealth action shooting game with a full story to play through, single player only. And I don't know, man. I'm excited by the fact that there's a story to play through, because a lot of games that I've been playing in VR, not all, but a lot of them that have these kinds of mechanics, it seems like it's the randomly generated dungeon type things that you kind of run in and you just run through and kill things, but there's not a story attached to it.
Yeah, I think what we've seen is a lot of these VR games, all the money is put into the VR because that does put constraints that add more expenses. And therefore less is put into things like story. And for many, it is a question of learning the platform first. So they're making these simpler games. Not necessarily mechanically simple, but story-wise simpler games that they can, cut the teeth on and get the experience they need. And then what we're going to see going forward is more complex games, story-wise, setting-wise, lore-wise. And this looks like a really good step in the first step. I like the visuals. I like kind of the mechanics you see movement-wise as he's shooting, as he's leaning, etc. That looks pretty good.
Well, I won't say that this is necessarily the first one, but because I know like Arizona Sunshine has got a little bit of a story to it, and then another one that I cannot say enough good things about called Moss, which isn't necessarily a shooter, but it's a heavily story-focused game that was really cute and a lot of fun to play through. So, yeah, another step in the right direction. I'm excited to check this out when I get a chance.
There's a question about mobility. I didn't see how that's handled, but I'd like to see more of this, more of the game.
Well, and another VR title due out in August for Vive and Rift. And I did ask the devs if they were going to have Windows Mixed Reality for this, because that's the type of headset that I have. And they would like to have that available. It is not currently available, but that is something that they plan to work on. They're not currently working on Windows Mixed Reality just because they don't have a headset to work with that. Again, like you mentioned, with the cost of things and developing for these things. But this one is called Banished Castle VR, and it's kind of a poly-style dungeon crawler. And, each of the creatures that you run into, even some of the designs of some of the other stuff in there, it's got kind of almost a low, well, maybe not low, maybe mid-poly design to it. So we're not looking for, like, super accurate or, hyper-detailed, but it's kind of a cool aesthetic. I like it. And this appears to be another one of these random dungeon levels that you kind of, do random dungeon crawls through. So, with these, if the fighting mechanics and the movement mechanics are fun, these can be fun to play. I just find, for myself at least, my interest starts to wane faster with these because, I guess after running a bunch of dungeons, I kind of start to get bored without a story to go through or co-op. But this will actually have online co-op, so I don't know. I could probably get a little bit more out of it if I get a buddy or mine or two who have VR headsets to pick this one up as well.
Do you know what the red flag for me is with this one?
What's that?
Their Twitter account.
Uh-oh.
0 following, 0 followers.
Well, it's going to be releasing into early access sometime in August, or at least that's when their planned release date is. Maybe they'll pick up some more followers once it releases.
Check out the Steam page. There should be a link to it. If Drag has done his work correctly, there is a link to their Facebook and their tweeting. Go follow them. Go interact with them. I think they need some feedback. And the last one that Drag has added to the list that I'm supposed to mention, Alucinod for the Windows platform, coming in August. First-person puzzle game. This one was curious. If you look at the trailer, you better not be drunk or high, because it's spinning around a lot. But it's the idea that whatever is down on your screen is down in terms of gravity. So gravity follows you as you run around. And therefore, if you step on a wall, the wall is now the floor. And there's one where I think it's a tunnel that kind of twists. So basically, gravity keeps turning around and around and around.
Yeah, that reminds me of the old James Bond gun barrel thing when it starts.
Yeah. But it's one of those, this looks like it could be fun if you're into puzzles. But it also feels a little bit like somebody had an idea for a mechanic and made a game out of it. I gamified a mechanic, as opposed to made a game where this is just part of it. Slight little bit, yeah, Portal-y. Portal started out just as a mechanic, and let's see where we go there. I should point out, anybody who does train for doing 3D graphics, etc., knows what portals are. So portals were a fun thing that they went that way. This thing, at least, they had taken something new and playing with.
Yeah, I played both of the Portal games. Those were games I actually finished, and they were quite a bit of fun. In fact, I think might have been playing the second one with my Munchkin for a while as well. So yeah, it's definitely a trippy video to watch, and it looks like it could be kind of an interesting and maybe even fun time to play. So yeah, if you like puzzle games, look for that Alucinod sometime in August.
To wrap them one up, the Portal games is at the started as mechanic, but they added a game to it. It's not just a gamified mechanic, and that's where I'm worried this one is missing. It seems to be missing the rest of the game. But again, if you're into the puzzles as opposed to into story lore, all that stuff, this sounds like a really good game. K-Drac, anything else?
I think that about covers it. As many of the games that we could find and fit in within the allotted time frame to bring to your attention for the month of August.
Good. In that case, ciao.
As always, like, subscription, all the fun things. Click on all the buttons, ding all the bells, all those good things. We'd greatly appreciate it. Any comments or suggestions are welcome. And you can always find us on Twitter at @Bamsters_.